Okay, here's the problem. When we raise the bucket, take a look at when the left side comes up versus the right hand side, and this is how we're going to fix it. But this is the issue. See the gap between this side over here on the left side and over here on the right? We're probably looking at an inch to an inch and a half. So let's see what we can do about that. Stand by. Now we may be off just a tad, but if you're off a ½ inch or a ¼ inch instead of an inch and a half, that is good enough for what we're doing with this thing. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you're troubleshooting an uneven bucket is to look for the obvious first. You know, just like in Forrest Gump. Oh, has it got guys in it? Well, make sure that you don't have a lot of crud and stuff up under here so that when you do your quick attach, that it actually gets up and mates well. The next thing you want to do is to make sure that your tire pressures are equal. They don't have to be equal all the way around. Matter of fact, they probably should not be. But they need to be equal side to side. By that I mean the front tires should be equal pressure left to right, and the rear tires should be equal pressure left to right. Especially the rear tires with this longer arm between the rear of the tractor and the front of the bucket. You're going to have a much greater error if your tire pressures are low or if they're uneven. So we had done all that, and we still had an uneven bucket, as you saw at the beginning of the video. So what we did was grab the torque wrench, not the torque wrench, the impact wrench, and start at the front of your bucket and work your way to the rear. Like I said, we took all the pressure off of these bolts, put a little bit of pressure on the front lip of the bucket to where it kind of raised some of the weight off of the front tires. So that meant that each side of the bucket was carrying an equitable load distribution. And then we just went back in and tightened down these. That bolt's just for the stand for the loader frame. That's not a big deal, but these four are critical on each side. Go back along. You also have the bolts for your hydraulic cylinder, left and right, and then where the bolt mounts, I don't know if you can see it, but all the way back here at the rear of the loader arms. If you will make sure your tire pressures are good and that you have all those bolts torqued down completely and your bucket still isn't level, then you either have a bent bucket, which means you're probably using it like a bulldozer instead of a compact tractor, and that's a big no-no, or you have somehow managed to bend your tractor frame, which is another big no-no, or on the LS tractor you can see where this loader frame is actually bolted to the tractor frame. So you know you're not going to get any movement out of this part, but if your frame bolts aren't tight, and the easiest way to check those, I mean, you should still check them for torque occasionally, but if your lock washers in here are still compressed, odds are you're still probably good to go. And that's just an easy walk around while you crank your tractor and check your oil levels and do all that while you're waiting on your tractor to warm up, and the seals and the transmission fluid and all that. So that's an easy thing to check actually on a daily basis before you go out and run this thing, because you spend a ton of money on one of these. It's not going to get any cheaper in the near term. I can assure you of that. And with the way the Biden economy's going, you're going to have to make do with what you got for a long time, I think. So, other than that, if you like our stuff, give us a like, subscribe, be sure to hit the notifications. I know you've seen a lot of aviation related stuff on the channel late, and we've lost a ton of subscribers over that. But take heart, we are moving aviation. We're going to split that out into its own channel. So you tractor guys aren't going to have to put up with watching helicopters fly, and vice versa. So that's what we're going to do. Look for those changes to come out over the next month or two. And go ahead and like, subscribe us here, and that way you'll be able to see when we do the swap over. And you know, when you go to the new channel for what you like, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave your subscription on this channel. We won't end up posting on it anymore, so it's not going to bother you, but it sure is the devil going to help us out. All right, appreciate it. We'll see you next time from Hidden Acres Outdoors. Bye.